Back with us on the SportsMax Zone. Now, earlier on this Thursday, the Hero Caribbean Premier League issued this statement. It says, the Hero CPL was broadcast around the world thanks to TV production companies Sunset Plus Vine and SportsMax Productions, who provided the state-of-the-art equipment that was used for the telecast. With months of planning and many late changes, adjustments and restrictions to both crew and equipment logistics due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Sunset Vine and SportsMax teams executed and fulfilled their roles as broadcast, technical and production partners on the ground in Trinidad and Tobago. Over the 4 weeks of the tournament, an uninterrupted high-definition signal was sent to viewers around the world. The Sunset Vine team have a track record of amazing sports broadcasting, and viewers around the globe were provided with the best possible experience. Despite the challenging nature of producing high-class coverage during a pandemic, Sunset Vine delivered a fantastic broadcast that was both innovative and engaging. With a camera count of 26 supporting audio and video equipment, more than 300 equipment cases and over 9 tons of equipment shipped to the island during a global pandemic, getting all of this in place was a massive endeavor. The equipment used during the broadcast, as well as the logistics of getting it in place in Trinidad, was provided by SportsMax Productions. The broadcast also featured innovations to give the viewers the best possible experience, with this being even more important with the games being played behind closed doors. SportsMax successfully integrated Zoom viewing parties in partnership with Digicel in an effort to add to the vibe and engagement of fans. Pete Russell, the Hero CPL COO, Chief Operating Officer, said, "We would like to thank Sunset Vine for their tireless endeavors, which saw a world-class broadcast delivered around the globe in the most difficult of circumstances. We're also hugely grateful," Pete Russell says, to SportsMax Productions, who worked flat out to make sure all the equipment needed to put on a production of this standard was in place and working well. The success of this year's tournament would not have been possible without these two key partners. So this is a statement from Hero CPL. I really appreciate this. Yes, it deserves a round of applause. It does, because you hear about the players, the action on the field is what you see, but behind the scenes, a huge undertaking. Sunset Vine outdid themselves, the CPL is saying, and the SportsMax Productions covered ourselves in glory. We really went all out. They said worked flat out, the most British of phrases, flat out. You hear that a lot in the House of Commons on a Wednesday morning. Boris Johnson and his team battling with Keir Starmer and his team across the floor. You hear flat out a lot. Flat out described what SportsMax Productions did. So the team, led in TNT by our engineering head, Oral Swaby, of course, Kerry Gibbons, integral to all that went on, and every individual who's part of that production team. Kudos to you ladies and gentlemen who worked so very hard to make the CPL a possibility. And what about those watch parties? A lot of work went into it, sleepless nights. It starred Mariah Ramarak. Hyperlicious, yeah. It starred Minnie Minaj. She is behind the scenes working on the SportsMax Zone now as we speak. We have a lot of talent inside SportsMax. And how can I forget Shawana Ibanks, who joined and really helped to take things to a higher level. Congratulations, Shawana, for your contribution. So it was very well done. Natalie and Keno and Chelsea and everybody, and I don't want to forget names, and our cameraman. One of them not so happy now because his Liverpool team lost today, Sean Williams. But, so it go, my friend. It was very good, and I'm very happy that CPL has seen the need to send a statement like this, paying tribute to those who were not seen, but who made it possible for the CPL to be seen and to be seen in high definition. Take it away, guys.
All right, thank you for that, CPL. So we're going to continue as we talk about cricket. West Indies women failed to avoid a series whitewash, going down by 3 wickets to England in the 5th and final T20 International at the county ground in Derby on Wednesday. Rain caused the match to be reduced to 5 overs per side, a first for women's cricket. The Windies batted first and made 41 for 3. Deandra Dottin made only 11, but one of her scoring shots, a huge 6, saw her become the first woman to reach 100 sixes in T20 internationals. England then made 42 for 7. Here's the Windies captain, Stafanie Taylor.
Yeah, I thought that, today was really exciting. It's the first time I've actually, I believe, played a 5-over game. Yeah, I thought the energy was really good in the field. The fearlessness was really good too when we were batting. We were really positive. We could see that intent. So yeah, and it's a pity that we didn't win. It was there for us to win. But yeah, it's just one of those games where it could go either way.
This is what she said when asked to reflect on the overall tour.
Very proud. When we look at the year, if we didn't come over, like we're not sure if we would have had any or have any tour coming up. So yeah, when the chance came, like we just took it because we wanted to play some cricket. We knew what challenges would be like, but nevertheless, we wanted to come here and play some good cricket.
All right, so Lance and George, before we continue with our cricket segment, we're going to comment on Stafanie's her comments, because she used words like exciting. It was exciting for the ladies, of course. She said a lot of energy they brought, and she said they had positive intent when it came to batting. Lance, I start with you.
Well, a captain has to try to keep her head up after a series like this, but there isn't anything positive that I could honestly say that came out of this tour for the West Indies team, except for the fact that they actually played some cricket, because as she mentioned, there was the fear heading into the back end of the year that there may have been no cricket for the girls. So they got to play cricket, but they didn't do well, and they performed well below their potential, and I think they've only won one of their last 17 or 18 games. A very, very poor commentary for this squad, and a lot of soul searching has to be done now, because quite frankly, I just thought those comments by Stafanie Taylor were stretching, stretching for some glimmer of
Positivity.
of hope or positivity coming out of the series, but it was a dismal series.
George?
It was disastrous. You wouldn't, though, expect your captain to say those words. That's for us to say as the commentators. The captain has to maintain a certain kind of diplomacy, especially if he or she in this instance, wants to continue in the role, and especially because she would have a direct line to the disappointment that would obviously be the dominant emotion among the members of her team after being beaten 5-0 on an overseas tour. So Stafanie has to play the diplomat's role in saying what she's saying, and she has to be upbeat. If you notice, she didn't go into specifics with the upbeat approach. She just spoke in generalities, as she has to, because there was nothing of note that the West Indies did on this five T20 international tour. Look, the ladies, as Lance said it, where their potential is concerned, we know that they are playing way below potential. Only one woman distinguished herself on this tour, and that was Deandra Dottin. And when I say distinguished, relative to her standards, it's not a distinguishing set of performances that she put together. But coming back from the injury, she advertised her well-being and started bowling again. So it's not too long from now that the world-beating Deandra Dottin will emerge and go. So I think the England outing was very good for her. Beyond Deandra Dottin, I can't name one woman who showed anything to suggest that, yeah, she's moving in the right direction. What we are sure of is that our captain remains a world-class operator, because she just had a bad tour, but we know that she is a class player. And is the only one, apart from Dottin, who you could put in that group. Hayley Matthews, a shadow of what she once was. And then there are the other women who are struggling, and at times, some of them look as if it's the first that they've been given gear and being asked to play cricket. And I think that's a shameful thing. That's a sad thing. It's not their fault. It's the fault of those who administer cricket in the region. How is it that you've allowed these women to slide so far from optimum performances and for being so far away from hitting that thread of consistency? And then crucially, how is it that we can have professional women paying them at the level we are, and they are so out of shape? It has to start with the physical reconditioning of the West Indies team, and I think it demands an inquest, this George, England performance.
As you mentioned, administrators, of course, today we got the news that the West Indies women, they have a new head coach. Of course, that person, Courtney Walsh. Lance, what do you think about that appointment?
Well, he has a tough job ahead of him. Courtney Walsh is an iconic figure in West Indies cricket. He has not yet established himself as a top coach, even though he has had some experience coaching, most notably as the bowling coach for the Bangladesh team. And I think on an interim basis was actually the head coach at one point when they were shifting coaches. But he has a really tough job here. This team is a team that you're struggling to find the answers for, you know, their decline. I know going forward, given what has happened in England, people will start talking about, you know, building a squad and you know injecting new players in the squad and so on. But there are just a handful of 30+ players in that squad that was in England, including, you know, Leanne Kirby and Afi Fletcher and a couple of others.
Yeah.
But 72% of the squad that went to England is under 30 years old. So from an age perspective, these are players that should still be in their prime. Stafanie Taylors is 29, DeAndre Dottin is 29. So these are players based on their age that should still have a lot of high quality cricket left in them.
Yeah.
Their performances, though, as George said, outside of DeAndre Dottin, left a lot to be desired in England. I know they may have struggled with fitness and coming off the COVID break and so on. You know, players may athletically not be in their prime at the moment, but this decline started long before COVID-19. So I would suggest that Courtney Walsh will look beyond the COVID-19 issues to find some of the problems to resuscitate this team.
Right, and what I do know is he did some work with the girls before where bowling is concerned, because I remember my sister telling me that, you know, he was able to point out some flaws. So he's no stranger to the Windies women, and of course I hope his integration into the team is a smooth one. Well, continuing with cricket, West Indies coach Phil Simmons hopes England will return the favour and tour the Caribbean in the near future. West Indies were the first team to undertake a cricket tour amid the COVID-19 pandemic, playing 3 tests in England in July. Simmons says the regional board and the ECB are working out the details.
Must be looking at ways in which they can help the West Indies, the Bangladesh, the South Africas of this world get on top of their financial situation, because this pandemic has put a big hole in even a bigger hole than there was before. So I think from that point of view, ICC's got to be looking and seeing how they can help. It's similar to Premier League looking to help the...
All right, so George and Lance, will England repay the favour or should they?
Well, they should. Will they is another matter entirely.
That's why I phrased it like that.
Is there going to be money in it for England? Well, let me rephrase my answer. If there's no money in it for England, they will not come.
Well, I did.
Should they come? Yes, but if there's no money in it for them, they'll not come. And that's the sad part.
I did read a report on Reuters where they said England correspondent told them that, you know, they have no space in their calendar to fit in West Indies until 2022, but they do promise if they fit them in, they'll have some additional matches, I guess, to make up. But again, that's just a correspondent from England, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, huge hope coming from the West Indies, and we heard this before, not only from Phil Simmons, but the West Indies captain, Jason Holder, had said that at the back end of the series as well. So let's see what England does from here.
Yeah, there's an old saying, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Break time
Yeah.
with that quote.